Okay.
Why would you remove my flight, you asshole? You asshole! No, it's fine.
Kill you.
Alright.
Hello.
Just so yo, what's up? What's up? Oh, yo, what's up, Don? Alright, I'm gonna mute myself real quick so I can
Oh my God,
set up this stream. I'll be right back.
Will do.
Hello? Hey, Gage, can you go check my stream? Make sure it's running. Okay, that works too. Give me just a second, guys. Let me just make sure my stream's actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. Alright, guys. We're starting a stream off. Okay. Alright, sounds like it's working. Cool. Oh, the chat's messed up. Alright, that's okay. So this is Everpeace Beyond. Before I start the server, I'm just going to read off a couple things so that way you guys understand what the server is about, and then we'll get right into it. I made like 99% of this server, but I will say I couldn't have done it without the help of several people. Let's just go ahead and get right into it then. Alright, so first things first, my character, Malachi Ravenwood. Alright. So, my character's race is human, and his origin name is Ravenwood Prime. Now, origins have not been added to the server yet. We are currently working on getting all of the origins put together. Then they will be added to the server. So I got a slight strength boost, but slowness, I'm weaker to all types of damage, and I have 2 less hearts. My age is 15, or my age is 12, sorry, 1.2 million years. And the backstory. Malachi Ravenwood wasn't always a multiverse traveler. In fact, he hated traveling. Before everything, he worked as a construction worker in a small, locally owned business, but an opportunity for something more awaited him. A world-renowned business by the name of Henry David Inc. offered him a job as a security officer, increasing his salary and giving him a whole new hope for his future. What he didn't know was that the corporation was simply a front for a much bigger operation. The Spectral Investigations Institute, SII, was a project to discover, eliminate, and banish all spirits from the realm of the living. After an incident caused by the apocalypse, he eventually found his way into an empty universe. With the help of Lord Phasix, he created a new universe in its place and called it Everpeace. He is the creator of Everpeace, and the reason it collapsed, alongside Lord Phasix. So there's quite a few things that go on in this world, and you'll find them out as time goes on. But overall, I worked really hard on this server, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I did enjoy making it. Probably even more than that too, because I didn't. There was points in time where I kind of regretted ever making it to begin with. So I guess, yeah. Let me start up the world. Just so you guys know, I am going to have to leave for a short amount of time in a little bit, but I will return when I do leave. Oh boy, I don't think I caught any of that. Just in case you guys didn't catch any of that, I am going to be leaving later on. I will be returning, but for a short period of time, I am going to be gone. Here we go. Alright, guys. It took forever to set up that screen. Actually, before I do join the world, I do want to show you something. The story. When a universe falls apart, it leaves behind a little seed, called an Everseed. This seed contains the mass of the entire universe, its memories, and all souls within, giving them a second chance at life. However, if a sentient being interacts with it, they may create a universe of their own choosing, speeding up the growth process of the universe. But there's always a consequence to your actions. If you so choose to create a universe, it will be self-contained, only falling apart once the values you built it off of have been forgotten. That is precisely what happened when Malachi Ravenwood and Lord Fazix faced off against Dawn. But before I tell you that story, let me fill you in on how they got into that situation. Who is pinging me? Okay. But before I tell that story, let me fill you in on how they got into that situation. Malachi Ravenwood wasn't always a multiversal traveler. In fact, he hated traveling. Before everything, he worked as a construction worker in a small, locally owned business. But an opportunity for something more awaited him. A world-renowned business by the name of Henry Davis, Inc. offered him a small job as a security officer, increasing his salary and giving him a whole new hope for his future. What he didn't know was that this corporation was simply a front for a much bigger operation. The Spectral Investigations Institute, or SII for short, was a project to discover, eliminate, and banish all spirits from the realm of the living. From the realm of the living. There was a specific spirit they had been chasing for hundreds of years. They didn't know it yet, but they were hunting down an angel of death. His name was Lord Phasix. Lord Phasix has been around for centuries. He wasn't always an angel. He once lived a normal life as a human. But he was a good-hearted man with a passion for guiding people to do the right thing. When his time came, he was anointed as an angel under God himself, creator of the multiverse and ruler of all. In his normal state, Phasix is unable to interact with the world and only spectates it. But once he enters the mind of someone within his bloodline, he is able to use their body to do whatever he wants. He used this ability to help find and capture lost souls, bringing them to where they belonged, whether that be heaven or hell. However, Malachi was meddling with forces he shouldn't have been, and unleashed a terrible race of creatures upon the earth. These creatures took over, sending the world into an apocalypse. Phasix, using the body of Leviticus Phasix, was forced to retreat to a portal that had been built inside of inside the main SII facility, intended to banish the souls to another universe. The project had just reached completion by the time the apocalypse struck. Malachi, who caused the end of the world in that very building, happened to return on that fateful day. Phasix decided to help him escape, not knowing what Malachi had done. The pair ended up in a vast void of an empty universe, surrounded by the corpses of people who had starved to death after becoming lost there. But Phasix, with his ties to God, knew of a way to bring a dead universe back, using an Everseed. He and Malachi found the Everseed not too far from the entry point and were ready to form a new universe. So, for a little bit of context, an Everseed is an object that is created when a universe fully dies. It condenses into what's called an Everseed, which will eventually mature into an Evertree, once it's an Evertree, that is a full universe. He and Malachi found the Everseed not far from their entry point and were ready to form a new universe, but there was someone else. Don was a privateer, commissioned by the Starfield military to fend off merchant vessels from surprise attacks. His job had a simplicity that he relished. Enemy ships would warp in. He would turn broadside, and the impressive armament of his dreadnought, Obsidians, would shred the opposition without fail. Though dreadnoughts were an uncommon sight outside of military battle fleets, this worked to his advantage. His primary strategy, shock and awe, relied heavily on his enemies being overwhelmed by the Obsidians' presence alone. It was on one of these contracts that he met his end, or perhaps his beginning. The fleet was midway through their journey. The Obsidians flanked by two heavy cruisers, Shroud and Desmond, which brought up the rear of the convoy, while the two destroyers, Flint and Prejudice, took point. They were in orbit around Colin's sun, solar scoops designed to refuel their jump drivers. All except the Obsidians, of course. Dawn's ship, and Dawn's ship alone, harnessed a white dwarf bound within a Dyson sphere. Also, forgive me for butchering all of this. I am trying to get by it pretty quickly, just so I don't miss the call. Instead of traditional fuel engines, it was fitted with gravitational manipulators that threw a massive ship around as if it were no larger than a cruiser. The convoy's courier ships carried a mix of nuclear fuel, food, oil, machinery, and general resources destined for a recently established colony on Nahun, a few jumps away. Don himself had never been to Noon, although his first mate and closest ally in battle, Corbin, was born there. "Suppose you're finally glad to go back and see your folks, huh?" Don had said with a smirk. Captain, you know by well I hate him with every fiber of my being. You best lock me in the brig, for I bring the primary onto Noon and reduce it to the asteroid it once was. Now, you know the harm that'd bring to our profits. Surely no more than the harm brought by... Don would never know what Corbin was going to say. On the opposite side of the solar system, while Don and Corbin were engaged in conversation, a mobile weapons platform dubbed MAP-05 confirmed its orders. MAP-04 and MAP-08, positioned in a triangle around the solar system, did the same. Each platform locked onto a different target. MAP-05 onto bodies and using the gravitational wells to MAP-05 onto the Flint, MAP-08 onto the Shroud, and MAP-04 onto the Desmond. Silently, they electrified their whales, hiding in the electromagnetic field of celestial bodies and using the gravitational wells to fire from unexpected angles. It was a perfect alpha strike. Dawn, who just a moment ago was bantering with a friend, snapped into full captain mode. He ordered Corbin to the helm, who, without needing further clarification, engaged in evasive maneuvers to avoid the now uncontrollably spinning wreckage of what had once been 2 heavy cruisers. One look was all Dawn needed to know that there would be no survivors. A quick radio confirmed that the Flint had met the same fate, though the Precipice was blessedly unscathed. Taking up command of the convoy, Dawn ordered the couriers to focus all power on shields and immediately jump to the next system. He knew what they were up against. He knew that his dreadnought, no matter how maneuverable, could not dodge 3 fully functional railguns, let alone hidden ones. He ordered all deck guns stowed and all missile hatches sealed. Just as the last courier departed the solar system, the Obsians shook from the impact of 2 railgun shots. 2 because the third had struck Precipice, which was now falling into the star's gravity well. There, too, would be no survivors. Dawn barked at an officer who reported back, shields at 68%. One more volley. He had 4 minutes to locate 3 stationary gun platforms spread across the solar system and destroy them. Not happening. Judging by the looks of those on the helm, they knew it too. The Opsians was dead in space. Oh, that needs to be removed. Dawn, with a grimness about him, gave the order for all hands to abandon ship. He would stay behind on the Obsians, trying to draw fire from the orbital cannons while his crew escaped to life pods. The enemy, however, had different plans. Almost as soon as the bridge, and more notably the guns, had been evacuated, 3 light cruisers warped in, directing fire onto the many life pods being ejected. Dawn did his best, sending warriors to all remaining crews and directing what little firepower he had control of onto the cruisers, but all efforts were in vain. 3 more rail shots slammed into the Obsians' hull, cracking the shields and puncturing the armor. The shell didn't go deep, but the ones that followed would be the final volley. Yet, fate be damned, Dawn was determined to take these bastards with him. He broadcasted his intentions to all crew still on board. The reception was mixed, but it didn't matter. No matter what they did, there was no escaping this situation alive. With heavy shoulders, Dawn inserted the key, flipped that fateful switch, and affirmed that the ship was to scuttle. A series of catastrophic events unfold all at once. First, the AI registered that the ship was to self-destruct and began aiming internal mass drivers at the white dwarf midship. Second, the railguns fired again. All 3 found their mark, one hitting right behind the spinal cannon and triggering a miniature chain reaction that caused the cannon to fire directly into the star they were orbiting. Third, the mass drivers fired into the white dwarf, destabilizing it and setting it on course for a supernova. Fourth, Dawn was flung from the force of the impact into space, hurtling toward the star. Finally, and simultaneously, the spinal cannon shot slammed into the core of the star, causing it to explode, while the white dwarf collapsed into a black hole. But the effects were anything but ordinary. The star became a gravistar, while the white dwarf became a black hole. The collision of these 2 phenomena led to the destruction of the universe itself. Yet, in the true void where matter, time, and space had no rules, no existence, and no meaning, Dawn remained. He was no longer a being, or even an entity, but more akin to an idea, self-preserving and self-replicating. For a time, Dawn simply was. Then, matter began to intrude upon his existence. It was foreign and unknown, forcing his idea to flicker and his identity to falter. His first recovered emotion was hate, followed by rage, and finally, grief. These emotions became his defining traits. When 2 intent-filled, conscious beings entered his own domain, alive and intrusive, Dawn's flickering idea solidified. His rage and grief surge, for these 2 beings had come to what he now considered his domain, disrupting the fragile stability he had forged from the void. Dawn, at this point without form, felt a surge of something else, something new. All of a sudden, energy and matter began spewing out into the abyss. A whole universe of matter emerged, creating a new cosmos. At this very moment, the rage, hatred, fear, grief, and sorrow of every soul in that ever wandered the previous universe formed into one being, a being with one conscience. Dawn was finally back. He looked upon this new universe, on a throne created only by its twisted will. His territory, his domain, now stood before him. But he wasn't alone. Millions of light years away, Phasix and Malachi stood by an Everseed of their own, ready to create a universe of their own. The density of the Everseed, however, was much less than the universe Dawn had created. It was weaker, with much less life to hold it together. They constructed it on the idea of what held it together was peace and satisfaction. But Dawn's universe was built on getting revenge. As long as he existed, his universe stood stronger than anything that the other two could imagine. He sat and pondered on how he would proceed, millions of years passing as he thought on it. In this time, more people arrived to Everpeace, creating factions and bonds, further weakening the universe with separation and threats of war. But Dawn could never expect what they would do. They came to him, first Malachi making the perfect opportunity to get into his head. Dawn lied to Malachi, informing that Phasix was planning on betraying him to control Everpeace himself. With the help of his Evertree, he was able to get into Malachi's mind and plant a seed of doubt in his comrades. When Malachi came back to Everpeace, he had one goal: to kill Lord Phasix. But Phasix already set up a team to find him, and everyone who came to this world trusted and respected Malachi, as he welcomed them with open arms when they had nowhere else to go. Phasix lit a portal in the Evertree, the same one used by Malachi to get to Dawn's universe, and they invaded. And Dawn had created a projector before this could happen, a protector before this could happen, a dragon that he could keep immortal as long as he was near. Hiding in plain sight by warping their minds, Dawn continued healing the dragon until he was sure Malachi was back in Everpeace. After this, he made an escape to his throne, sending everyone else into a confused state. No one could say why they were there. Most had lost their memories, including Leviticus, which caused Phasix to be trapped within the depths of his memories. When they returned home, the ones that still had a shred of memories in their mind realized what happened, and they tried to warn others about Dawn. By this time, Malachi had realized what truly happened, but he was too late. Full of regret, he looked upon the destroyed world that had once been the symbol of peace in the infinite expanse of the void. Sorry for butchering that so much, but I guess it's time to unmute and undeafen.
Oh, that's ass. $307 on hardcore.
Gentlemen, I have returned.
Xbox actually might have more going on.
Hi,
Bro,
brother.
my most played game, my favorite game of all time, People Playground, I only have $700 on.
He who
Oh,
only
you're
plays
joking, right?
That is the game I play the most time on. And with
Jack, how many hours do you have?
Hello. Hi, Malachi.
Hello.
On Game Labs alone, I have 1,000.
I didn't realize
Hi,
it was
brother.
you because the name
Oh,
and profile
rookie
picture
numbers.
change.
Icebreak.
And then I have, and then my lowest game at
Just
the
so you
minute.
guys know, I am
Home.
streaming this.
Because I. Oh.
Ah,
Yo!
Give me the
Hi, Chad.
Hence why I was.
I'd
deafened
watch
for such
out.
a long
Jack
time.
Jack still says out of pocket things.
Hello, Chad. Hello, people on Twitch.
Hello,
Rust
people
is
in
the
chat.
newest game that I started
It's actually
playing,
on YouTube,
So, like,
just
I have
so you
like
know.
157 hours on it.
Hello,
Oh my
chat.
god, hello, people on YouTube. I'm gonna be YouTube.
Good morning,
Yeah, I can't believe that you guys would
Vietnam.
get that wrong. Come on.
Your brother just sent me on
Oh.
Xbox chat. Yo, is soul manipulation good? Question mark.
Brother. Ugh.
Hold on, let me check real quick.
I can't wait to go home and make some chicken noodle soup and be happy with my life. And then get a glass of wine and go to bed.
I'm currently in the
I
wrong
have
skin. For some reason, my
17K.
skin's not working.
Right there, this is currently streaming on YouTube. What I'm saying and what you're saying as well. So just keep that in mind and please be quiet down just because of that.
No?
Just in case you say something out of pocket and then get this stream taken down. He won't do that. I'm joking. He doesn't usually say out of pocket stuff. I'm just saying that as a just in case.
Okay, but if we go for band on Xbox ours though, you're definitely beating me.
I win. No,
Yeah.
I win 100%. That's not a debate. I've played more time on Xbox than you've had time on electricity.
Okay, so well, I know.
What about
Yeah,
Nintendo
I'll fix that
Switch?
later.
What about Switch? If y'all have one.
Who plays the Switch?
I
Me.
have about two. I have
Why?
Me.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave VC for now. It was originally supposed to be people on the server, but it's only me and Ken. Alright, well, I guess I should get right to it with getting started. I think the best thing to do right now is to get wood and get leather. That was genuinely so close. So the funny thing about this server, right, is void deaths are considered canon. Jeez, man, there's so many mobs down there. What? Okay, I'm gonna return down there once I have some tools. Actually, what I might do... There's a birch tree right there. Yeah, this definitely has some funky world generation to it. Alright, I need to get some food as well. The thing is, I'm pretty sure that because it's infinitely night, mobs aren't going to spawn. I also see a potentially possible but very, very risky jump right there, if I can manage to land in that water. But I don't want to immediately die for good. It does, by the way, become increasingly more difficult to get somebody back from the dead the more times they die. It's not impossible, it's just very, very difficult. Let's see if I can make it. I'm not making that. I'm not making it. I'm not making it. I'm not making it. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can't get at least to where I was before. Also, do we have Atlas? No, we do not. I'm gonna add that to the server later as well. I'll be right back. Hello?
I'm here. If you want to come out front, I am here.
Alright, I'm coming out now.
Okay, bye.
Okie dokie, bye. I'm back. Gage, entertain my chat for me while I'm gone.
I'm playing different game.
Womp womp. Alright guys, it's gonna be another like million years before I'm back.